Welcome to our deep dive into the investigative report by John Simon, dated December 19, 2025. This report explores a complex web of personal, legal, and even political intrigue surrounding Simon's marriage to Susan Green. Over the next several scenes, we'll unravel the key events, allegations, and the mysterious patterns of numbers and addresses that Simon believes connect his personal life to broader conspiracies. Let's begin by setting the stage with the marriage at the heart of this investigation. John Simon's marriage to Susan Green in 1987 is the focal point of his allegations. Simon claims that Susan Green, now known as Susan Joyner, entered the marriage with the intent to deceive and eventually divorce him. He alleges that her actions were not isolated, but were supported by secretive political and religious groups. According to Simon, this marriage was orchestrated with a specific plan, involving not just personal betrayal, but a larger scheme that would impact his life for years to come. Simon's suspicions extend back to his early life. He presents evidence suggesting that Wood County, West Virginia, played a role in a tragic event, the shooting of his father on August 20, 1969. This loss, Simon believes, removed a vital source of support and set the stage for later legal battles. The trauma of losing his father would echo through subsequent court proceedings, especially those involving Simon himself as the son of the victim. The aftermath of Simon's father's death led to further entanglements with Wood County courts. Simon draws connections between these legal proceedings and later events in his own life, particularly his divorce from Susan Green. He points to the final judgment on April 8, 1994, as a pivotal moment, linking it to a series of dates and numbers that he believes reveal a hidden pattern. Simon's report highlights a curious numerical pattern. The span between his divorce judgment and the November 11, 2000 election is exactly 2406 days. He interprets this as a significant marker, tying together personal milestones and national events. The number 6240 also emerges as a recurring motif, suggesting to Simon a deeper, possibly orchestrated, connection between his life and broader historical events. Following the divorce, Susan Green moved away from Wood County without notifying Simon. This forced Simon to relocate to California to maintain custody of his children, as granted by the court. The sudden move by Susan and her new husband, Scott Joyner, created logistical and emotional challenges for Simon, who had to adapt quickly to continue his role as a father. Despite the upheaval, Simon managed to rebuild his life in California. In 1995, he obtained his California state contractor license and helped his mother purchase a home in Ontario. By 1996, Simon bought his own home at 6240 Malvern Avenue, a 4-bedroom house that symbolized a fresh start. Meanwhile, Susan and Scott Joyner were still living with Susan's mother, highlighting the contrast in their circumstances. Joyner's frequent moves complicated Simon's ability to maintain regular visitation with his children. At one point, they moved more than 50 miles away, forcing Simon to travel extensively for custody exchanges. Simon viewed these moves as deliberate attempts to test his resolve and perhaps discourage his involvement. Eventually, after court intervention, the Joyners returned to San Dimas, restoring some stability to the custody arrangement. Simon's investigation takes a turn into the realm of secret societies. He suggests that organizations like the Parkersburg Knights of Columbus played a hidden role in the events surrounding his marriage and divorce. Simon points to their address at 1010 Market St. Parkersburg as a clue, hinting at a network of secrecy and influence that extends beyond his personal story. Key part of Simon's theory involves the numerical relationship between addresses. He notes that the Knights of Columbus address 1010 Market St. and Susan Green's childhood home, 1026 Cal Ortega, add up to 2036, and with an additional 10, reach 2046. Simon links these numbers to the 2406-day span between his divorce and the Bush-Gore election, suggesting a coded connection between places and events. Simon identifies 1999 as a turning point. He claims that this year marked the beginning of a malicious campaign against him by the Joyners and the Greens. The number 10, representing his son's age in 1999, is woven into his calculations. Simon also references cultural touchstones like Prince's song, 1999, and the film Independence Day, drawing parallels between pop culture and the turmoil in his personal life. Throughout his report, Simon repeatedly finds meaning in the alignment of dates and numbers. For example, his son's birthday on September 20, 1989, and the Bush-Gore election on November 7, 2000, are separated by 66 days. Simon interprets this as another instance of the 6240 pattern, reinforcing his belief in a hidden structure connecting personal and historical events. Simon's daughter's birthday, April 28, 1989, is also part of his calculations. The span from her birthday to the Bush-Gore election is 4212 days, which Simon links to Manhattan's area code, 212. He sees this as evidence that the patterns he's identified are not coincidental, but part of a larger, orchestrated narrative involving his entire family. Simon interprets the sequence of events as a symbolic passing of the torch from one generation to the next. He draws parallels between his father's fate, his own experiences, and the potential risks now facing his children. This generational theme is reinforced by calculations involving the release date of the film Independence Day, and his son's birthday, which Simon believes signal a transfer of challenges and responsibilities. Film Independence Day, released on July 3, 1996, features prominently in Simon's narrative. He calculates the days between the film's release and his son's birthday, arriving at numbers he believes are significant. Simon sees the film's themes of destruction and renewal as mirroring the upheavals in his own life, especially the threats he perceives to his family. Simon continues to find connections between addresses and significant numbers. He notes the address of the Wood County family court at 313 Market Street and suggests that, when combined with other key addresses, it fits into the recurring 6240 pattern. For Simon, these patterns are not random, but evidence of a deliberate design influencing his life's trajectory. Number 6240 appears repeatedly throughout Simon's report. It's the address of his California home, a sum in his calculations, and a symbol of the interconnectedness he perceives between personal events and larger historical moments. Simon believes that recognizing this motif is key to understanding the hidden forces at play in his life. Simon draws a striking parallel between the destruction depicted in the film Independence Day and the real-life tragedy of 9/11. He notes that the film's iconic scene of the U.S. Bank Tower's destruction mirrors the fall of the Twin Towers. For Simon, these echoes between fiction and reality reinforce his belief in a hidden narrative shaping both his family's fate and national events. Simon concludes that the patterns of abuse and manipulation he's identified are not limited to himself, but extend to his entire family. He sees the calculated timing of events, the movement of addresses, and the involvement of secretive organizations as evidence of a coordinated effort to disrupt his family's stability and well-being. Throughout his report, Simon emphasizes the importance of evidence. He meticulously documents dates, addresses, and events, building a case that he believes supports his allegations. Whether or not one agrees with his conclusions, the sheer volume of data and the patterns he identifies invite further scrutiny and discussion. As we reach the end of John Simon's investigative report, we're left with a tapestry of personal history, legal battles, and mysterious numerical patterns. Simon's story is one of resilience in the face of adversity, a quest for meaning in the midst of chaos, and a search for justice that spans decades. Whether these patterns are coincidence or evidence of something deeper, Simon's investigation challenges us to look closer at the connections in our own lives.